else. Meanwhile, Di Feng is getting close to her, and he stands right in front of her. Her sheep screams very hard and falls to the ground. She keeps teasing Laura while she is crying and apologizes to Feng for everything. Then she literally grabs his leg. She hopes that he will allow her now. She says to try, but she remembers all the sweet moments that we had in the past. I promise you that I will do anything for you, whether I give you money or you use me because I have good luck and get a green reward. She talks and begs a lot, but Feng doesn't care about anything and gets close to her. A little bit. He tells her, "Do you remember whether you asked me yesterday or not?" She is shocked and angry because she understands what she wants. Indeed, Feng extends his leg in front of her so that she can kiss her. Unfortunately, she is forced to do this, and in fact, she crawls like an animal to escape. Request. But after a second, Feng shortens her pain. He tells her that for the first time he knows that now, literally, garbage is cleaner than my daughter-in-law. Here he grabs his dagger and prepares to stab something. But at that time, Feng is also surprised by this bloody fog dialogue, because something can also turn into fog and disappear in front of him. Feng gets so angry that he trains on Earth. Then he thinks and remembers that Shay promised all the influence from the criminal organization. He also remembers what the last guard said. He concludes that the one supporting Shay is the girl named Wei, who he killed before, because in front of him, there were two of them using the same mist skill. He thinks about it more and says, very well, I understood everything. Currently, this organization is still in the growth stage. There's no point in me wasting any time. I have to take care of her right away before she gets bigger, because then no one will know how to deal with it. Finji walks here to collect the spoils from the people who died. After that, he goes to the organization's headquarters and destroys it. Before he touches the first item, he is surprised by the feeling that someone is also watching him. But this time, he feels that this spy is a professional and looks like a dangerous person. We don't wait until he escapes. He frees all his windows and becomes shrouded in a terrifying red halo. Then he just steps on the ground and finds that he is literally shortening the asphalt. In a second, he takes off at a crazy speed and goes to the place where the person was supposed to be. He is spying on him while sitting there. The problem is when he arrives, he doesn't find anyone and sees only short feet. He says, okay, it is clear that the person who is currently suspicious of me is on a level completely different from that of the organization. He keeps wondering who could possibly have people with such terrible power. He feels that this could be a member of the government. He says to himself, unfortunately, dealing with the gang is easy, and I can kill them at my convenience. But dealing with the government is a completely different matter. This means that the officials in the government are considered very powerful. And now, Feng can't even breathe with them. He keeps thinking that the government now sees him as a criminal and wants to get rid of him. There is no hero and they want to join them. But in the end, he says, okay, it doesn't matter, I will come back again to collect the spoils. At the same time, 2 kilometers away from Feng, we see spy workers. Pinhag. This is because he was very frightened when he saw the explosion of Feng's power and his terrifying struggle. He wonders how he even managed to meet him. This would be the first time this man was about to be exposed. This person's name is Black Panther, and he is the best person in the Bureau of Investigation who specializes in garage and tracking. He then tells Jane about everything that happened and tells him that he would have found out about me. I would fall into his grip. Jin is surprised by this and says, how is this possible? And the people in the office are also shocked because this is the first time something like this happens to Black Panther. He continues his words and says, in general, I took a photo of you, and they will send this photo. They all look at the picture, and when Lynn sees it, she is very surprised and says, I miss the boy. Jane knows that the day she chased the monk, she felt an energy fluctuation from Feng. Very strong. But I did not expect that the energy came out of Feng, and she said that it was an illusion and nothing more. Jin gets annoyed because he thinks that this is why Feng is the one who always pays his taxes without anything. They feel. These days, we see a worker playing a little bit on the computer. She asks if it is possible that he is the person who ran the red light and turned on the golden light. They are all surprised by the conclusion and feel that this girl's words could be true. Indeed. But another one of the analysts tells them that no, it is not in his hands at all. Strong. He certainly does not have money and many gifts that would allow him to get these terrible lights. Jin holds his head, trying to think carefully about the strange topic for them. Suddenly, one of the investigators comes in and gives him a handkerchief. This investigator hands him a file, informing him that this file contains all the information. Fang. All the while, they all looked around Jane to see. Indeed, Jin opens the file and sees a picture of Feng and his name as well. He reads the rest of his information and learns that this Feng is a very ordinary person who has nothing wrong with him. Before that, not even anyone complained about him in the street sector. Jin keeps skimming the information like this until he reaches the Feng family's information. He was shocked at that time because he knew that Feng's family died together in an accident. The investigator says, I felt a lot about this accident and discovered that there was something wrong with the accident. because all the evidence was taken by someone like that the garage cameras were broken. Time of accident. He continues and says that when I investigated more about the accident, I learned that the whole family was involved. She died of gas poisoning. He says, okay, well, he told me more information, but about the people of Feng. The investigator Abu Feng says that he was an officer in the army and had many heroic feats as well. He reduced an entire battalion and succeeded in many secret operations. But unfortunately, he was in the army and was seriously injured, so he was discharged from the army, but in a heroic way in front of everyone. The investigator also looks into Feng's mother's information and tells him that Feng's mother was the one who bought cardiac surgeons and performed many charitable operations. She also went on international raiding operations and rescued important figures. Jin gets angry at all this information. He literally says that there are unemployed people who literally died in mysterious circumstances. The incident was covered up. He trains the office and says that even the son himself lived alone and did not take any pounds with him. Lin gets upset about this situation. She says why didn't he ask anyone for help? Jin responds to her and tells her that this boy is a young man. His family died in mysterious circumstances. Even anyone who was investigating the matter was immediately killed. This probably means that Feng understood that if he tried to discuss the matter, he would surely be killed. Also, that's why he decided to live as a denier so he wouldn't die. He certainly has it in his mind that when he becomes stronger, he will try to take revenge on everyone. His family. At this moment, the world changes its outlook. He secretly says to himself, I have to know exactly what this is all about. In the end, Jin thanked the investigator for all his efforts. They say that we will open the case file of Feng's family and we will not consider Feng as an enemy. At least at the moment. He then grabs Feng's file and says from now on everything will be confidential. Until we get the right to him and his family. We go back again, and the Feng is the same, which currently obtains 2 rare items. He decides to introduce them to his pool. After that, he notices a building that smells very bad, and when he looks, he finds a sign that this is a store. Animals. At that time, Feng's eyes felt great changes in energy. He keeps opening the door of this abandoned store. Maybe he will find something. Unfortunately, the inside of the place remains a warehouse full of iron cages and a smell. The place would be very ugly. While he was looking, he noticed a red swimming pool at the end of this store. It looks exactly like his pool, but he feels an ominous energy from him. He gets a little closer to the pool and notices that there is a cocoon inside of which workers are eating insects. Finja becomes worried about this sight and goes back to his place, then uses the Eye of Truth and finds out the pool number and that it is connected to the Eternal Nest. He also says a lot of words, most of which are strange and unintelligible. For example, the shadow follows the void, and the heart is empty and bound by chains. Invisible and ask for an empty egg sheet to fulfill your desires. Finji is surprised by this and says what exactly is wrong with this and continues to decide to read about it. Talking and then scratching his hair. He says, this is a very big puzzle, and I will walk away now and will not finish it. But to satisfy his conscience, he takes out his mobile phone and writes the first sentence of what he saw. The results when translating the sentence is that its meaning is loyalty. Feng feels hopeful that he can solve the mystery. So he starts talking on the mobile phone and makes the other person understand that he needs something. Just prove your loyalty. For example, if he has a girlfriend, he proves his loyalty to her by answering. She has a gift that she loves. Feng feels that the white paper he remembered is the one that might be suitable for the swimming pool. But he keeps thinking about the idea so much that he gets bored and doubts that it is possible. This paper remains a contract of nothingness, betrayal, or anything. He continues to think more and more and becomes afraid to make a mistake, because then the insects in the cocoon. You can kill him. At the same time, Feng also doesn't want to leave this pool because he might get out to it. It's a good reward. He gets so angry from overthinking that he throws a very strong punch at the wall. His bag falls and his passport book falls out. The foot turns at that time, and Finji here sees a picture of his father. He remembers his father's behavior, punishing him for this. He says that their family will never lay down its head for anyone. He thinks that true cultures depend on respect for blood and origin. Finja discovers that the family tree is the answer to this riddle, because his family has absolute loyalty. The family tree is the paper on which everything is recorded. By forcing the family members to remain loyal to each other forever. He says, unfortunately, this matter is not certain. My entire family tree faded after my family died. Even the rest of my family is crazy now. But after that, it will come true. And he says 1 second now, I'm alone. Thus, I am the only one who has a complete family on my own. He focuses on the pool and thinks about the appropriate gift to give. He looks around well until he finds wood. He shortens this wood, hurts his finger, and writes his name on the wooden board. The name is engraved here on the wood and it emits a very powerful energy. Feng says, this is definitely due to the effect of my pool's blood. Immediately after that, he takes the remaining wood and puts it in the cocoon and presses hard. Great. Suddenly the pool explodes and Feng feels his heartbeat increase. Rigid, to the point that he hears the sound of drum beats and holds his head and screams intensely. Pain. At that time, in a strange way, he saw the people of Badaki. He finds a worker's girl dancing around the fire. There were expressions around this girl. The rest of the people had strange marks on their faces. They were making strange movements. One day, Feng hears a single voice speaking. He says, "I am loyalty and I am the foundation." What a despicable man who has no power to build a family. This sound keeps making Feng's head tired. We see that insects fill Feng's entire body after that. Feng then pulls out his dagger, and what appears to be a black beak emerges from it is presumed to be him. Kills insects. Then Feng closes his eyes, and when he opens them, we see that the color of his eyes has changed. Blood red color. He tells the person talking, "I don't follow the rules," and then he releases terrifying energy. And he tells him, in fact, that I am the rules and laws themselves. At that time, we will see that the science involved in this will fall short, and immediately he will find himself. He remained in front of the pool normally. Here the cocoon produces very many worms. These worms attack at some point and never end. He remains in the text but a black beetle. Finji is disgusted with the beetle and wonders if she is still the queen of insects or what. But suddenly the cocoon was already damaged around the beetle and exploded. He becomes rigid and shrieks. And he says, "It looks like this. The pool workers are joking with me." But then the matter continues and we find a red stove coming out of the pool. To some extent, this cocoon is divided into two halves. At that time, a brain-shaped element appears. We must use the eyes of truth. He knows that this brain is the ancient nest and is a legendary item. The brain has two uses. The first use is to absorb energy to produce a worm goose every 15 days. The second use is the brain's ability to integrate all the worms. So Najib rejoices and says that this element is supposed to be higher than the legendary one in the first place. And now I have a factory of terrifying insects. This is also not the merge feature. After that, he looks next to him and finds two insects. The small ones among them were workers who destroyed those of the large ones. He uses his eye for the second time. It is known that this is also a Caesarean element and its name is bloodbone. Through this element, small insects can be inserted into anyone's body. If this happened, the person would have absolute loyalty to Feng. Or in other words, it means he will remain a puppet under Feng's command. Feng says this element is very difficult. He thinks about using it on shore, but says no, not for these grades. In the end, he sells all the elements who are hostile and leave the place. On the other side, we go to my place, and the one who stays in her room is a worker meditating. She is recovering from the wounds she sustained. When she does something like this, she enters the house and becomes injured and falls on the ground and blood remains. Cover it. You see her and tell her exactly what happened. She became tired and told her that my old friend was Scruffy. It is clear that he acquired very powerful magic because he was able to kill all the guards and even he was going to kill me. You also know that he insulted the organization and said that he would insult it and not. He will leave it. He gets very angry and tells me that your stupid thing looks like it will cause us problems. Then you speak to the guard commander and tell us that you want to increase the number of guards and prepare for anything. Break an attempt. I also want you to make sure that there is no and that can be afraid and eventually shut down. The line is rude and she is in pain. From here, time passes for us, and when the rain comes down, Feng takes the new cup. He stores rain in it so he can use it later. When he finishes, he enters the room and puts down all the items he has, such as the dagger and the egg, and the mind, and the star, and the worm, and even the buzzing of blood that was in the eye. He says very sweetly, "I have to prepare now and be ready because the government has gone. My existence. In fact, I don't know exactly what they will do to me. Other than that, it's my fight. With the organization, it is also considered at the doorstep." During these times, his thoughts are interrupted by something while he is staring at him. Feng and Xiao immediately discuss the matter and tell him the Black Shadow organization. They told me that they were ready to buy the unit from me at a price 30% higher than government price. They are also currently opposed to me joining them officially. He gets happy with the words and smiles and says, "Awesome people, I'm looking forward to it." Beside themselves to me. He responds to Shaw Baki and says, "I want you to agree and join them as well." Shaw is shocked by this response and does not believe it. He says to me, "What did you say just now because I am a stranger? I heard wrong." Feng tells him, "No, you heard right. This organization is indeed my enemy, but you join them. He will let you remain a secret agent for me and help me." Shaw says, "In fact, this is considered a suicide mission, but I'm ready to go. It's okay to go to hell if you only promise to save my daughter." Finju smiles and says, "What exactly is your daughter suffering from?" Shaw responds and says it is. She has leukemia. He gets a blood test and realizes that it has a good effect on changing the blood and increase his strength. He wonders to himself whether this device can treat Shaw's daughter or not. He comes back to talk about what he says. The important thing is that now I want you, but you meet me and greet me. The reward you received, and he also gave you a shazia that he sold. But before anything else, I want to meet your first order. In the end, Feng shuts down to sleep, and when he sleeps, he has a dream that he is a worker. It comes from a vampire who wears such chic clothes and looks like he is from the nobility. After a while, Feng reaches a double ending, so he is forced to do so. He prepares to fight. But this vampire talks to him and cries and tells him, I'm tired of eating sticks. The matchbox you brought me and I need other things. Feng wakes up immediately from the dream and laughs because he understands the situation. And he says, my swimming pool is fine. He came to me in the dream just now to ask for food. Miscellaneous. Feng quickly gets burned after that, goes down to the pool, crushes him hard, and tells him, you're out. Childish and greedy. Then he calms down for a while and says to himself, it's strange that the pool is now fully conscious. Its appearance has evolved due to the bounty charges of the past period. He also throws matches at him at the time. The pool eats them quickly and the heart beats. Feng tells him not to worry. I will bring you other things very soon. He also looks at the egg and finds that it has reached 85%. So he tries again to put blood on her from the pool's bubbles. But the egg rejects this blood and stays away from it. Feng gets a little annoyed and says that even the egg no longer likes to eat anything. He is ignorant of matters and will sell blood and salvation. Then he looks at the dagger and says, I wonder if this dagger will also come to me in my dreams with requests. Is it different too, or what? He also repeats to himself that he is changing this leisure plan because he is tired of it. He calls the farm owner and asks him for pigs. This time, the farm owner shows that he is tired. He tells me, no pigs, because all our farms have witnessed terrifying accidents. The last period. Finji is surprised and says to the farm owner, please tell me more. The farm owner speaks and appears very afraid. And he says, I was talking to the pig owner in a video a while ago. But suddenly the pigs looked very wild and their eyes became red. They ate my friend in front of me, and I heard the sound of his terrifying screams. Feng smiles and says to himself, wow, I'm going to kill these pigs instead. I will buy it. In return, I will gain experience in fighting and striking the dagger, as well as the egg. Here he went to talk to the farm owner and ask him about the exact location of the accident. The farm owner tells him the address, but warns him that he might die. He even offers Feng an axe so he can use it for self-defense. Feng is happy that the farm owner is afraid for him. He thanks him then and says wait for me when I come back so we can have something to drink together. Here, Feng moves until he reaches an empty place where there is no one at all. At that time, he smelled a very bad smell of mold. Then he also spots a message box in the place, and what actually turns out to be a swimming pool. Basically, at that time, he uses my real eyes and knows that this pool loves secrets and scandals. He says that this swimming pool is considered good and could reveal big secrets to me. But I will continue to use it later when I finish my first task. He continues moving until he finds a tree that looks old. And underneath in the shortened pig pens, he withdraws comfortably and hears a chewing sound. He follows this sound until he sees a pig that is larger than normal. The pig was eating a corpse lying on the ground. And Venji uses the Eye of Truth. He knows that this pig is still called the Crazy Stabbing Pig. He discovers that the pig is consuming energy. Because of this, he changed and continued to live on eating and killing only. Wengel tries to think about the cause of energy penetration, but he says the most important thing right now is to kill the first pig only. He quickly shoots the pig from its back. In 1 second, he stabs the pig's neck and kills it. It takes 12 soul points. Wengel rejoices that killing a pig is much sweeter than chicken. But after that, he is surprised by the pig's explosion. The sound is so loud that it attracts the attention of all the other pigs. Pigs get angry and make scary noises. They all ran straight towards Feng. Feng coldly remained standing in his place. He says if anyone other than me had been here, it would have been time for him to literally do a bath on himself. But now I'm very excited because I see that these pigs are dots. Soul and blood. They will conquer the dagger and the egg. The pigs are getting closer and closer to each other quickly. But Feng also runs in front of them and within a second he twists and strikes the pigs' necks. Tightly and gracefully, all the pigs take just one hit and die. The dagger is literally from the diameter of the kill, and will soon fill the soul points bar. But in this place, surprisingly, the special clock warns Feng that he is in danger. Feng quickly turned around and found that the blood of pigs was moving and flowing. The tree, on the other hand, brings life into it and we discover that this tree is it. The real leader is here. Feng is surprised by this conversation and then finds the tree exploding with red energy. And its opponents increase and grow into leaves. The issue does not stop at that. Also, the roots of the tree give off energy and people walk through it. Strange blood. This dialogue continues more and more, as half of the tree splits and a spring emerges from it. Huge. Feng does not waste his time and uses the Eye of Truth and knows that this tree will remain. Pull no. V177. The tree's name is IBN Ul Mold and its job is to take care of Jenin. Mold. Feng felt a card very torn from the tree. Even higher than the epic monsters he faced before. He says, I can't waste his time. I must kill this tree immediately before the embryo in it is fully developed. Because if it is completed, you can get a very large ball. No one can ever stop her. He holds his dagger and unleashes all his strength, making it explode. He immediately runs as fast as he can towards this tree. The tree, on the other hand, produces leaves everywhere and attacks Feng with them. Feng tries to avoid these attacks, but unfortunately he loses his hand. He feels that the area he is in has become a tree kingdom. It is difficult for anyone to ever choose you as their area of influence. He uses the Eye of Truth again to find out more information. He discovers that this tree remains a satanic tree. He also knows that it is a transforming pool. That's why it says V next to it. The last thing he knows is that the tree remains at a disaster level. Meanwhile, the clock warns Feng and prefers to wind down quickly. At the same time, a lot of leaves fall from the tree. When he leaves one of them, she touches Feng, literally cutting him as if she were a knife. Protector. We also find that this wound is rotting, the blood is soaking, and the sweat is all wet. It swells. Feng's blood intervenes, moving quickly and expelling this talus with great difficulty. Branch and put a pang in his chest and make him cough through a hole. Feng gets seriously hurt and falls to the ground. He keeps coughing up a lot of blood, literally. He is unable to move and feels the threat of death. Here and there comes the right opportunity. This tree moves all its carrots to kill Feng, which is completely thrown on the ground. At this moment, Feng tries to act and takes out the cup of rain, and he aims it at the ends of the tree. When he does this, he is surprised at the edges that the rain touches. It changes and disappears completely. He gets up immediately and runs from his place towards the tree. Here is the tree with its bulbs and a very large amount of energy coming out of its eyes, and with the release of all her power. At that time, many limbs emerge from the ground. The place around the tree becomes completely transformed into hell. He keeps getting started more and more. It also uses rain. But despite this, he is getting injured and feels that his awareness is getting less and less. And more. He is very close to the tree here, and the distance between them is about 10 meters. At this moment, the cup with Feng is completely silver. Feng concludes that most likely any mistake he makes now will cause him to die. The tree also attacks and explodes a red light. Feng's clock moves quickly, and Feng begins 3 predictions of death. At this moment, the black limbs are getting close to Feng in order to kill him completely. Feng remembers that there were times when he kept matches with him. That's why he takes out an oud, lights it, and hopes that this oud remains the light of hope. By lineage, the sides are now very close to Feng. We find that the matchstick causes a huge explosion around us, as if a whole house exploded. Feng takes advantage of the explosion. He runs quickly, jumps on the tree, and strikes the curse with the dagger he has. Ulain tries to resist while Feng presses with all his might until he chooses you. Absolutely curse. Because of this issue, the tree falls and explodes, and a black ray comes out of it. To the sky. More important for Feng, he literally flies from his place and falls into a hole and remains. He stares stiffly, but after a few moments, he feels like a madman because he keeps finding time to die. Investigator. After that, he gets up and walks around